consider adding to the warrant register, that's for Courts Unlimited, the tennis court resurfacing, the amount of $56,889. And then we have a Crime Stoppers 50/50 drawing that I thought we could add maybe right before council comments. Handle that. So, I'm sorry.
We also need to add a public hearing.
Okay.
We advertised a public hearing to consider an exchange of property with the school district.
Yeah.
And the resolution is on the agenda.
Right.
But I neglected to make sure that the public hearing was on there.
Okay.
And, you know, Mr. Barker has prepared one of the best public hearings he's ever presented. I do not want to, but we noticed it up.
Okay.
At the end, we need to add that.
If we just added that to under our public hearings special orders as the third item there, would that work?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. Any other changes to the agenda before we consider this? I guess we've got 3 additions. If there's a motion to approve those.
I'll make that motion, Your Honor, with the 3 additions to the agenda.
Excellent, thank you, Mr. Perk and Mr. Welling. Seconding?
Yes.
Any discussion? There's no discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That takes care of our agenda. Council minutes. August 16th. Questions, comments concerning those minutes? If not, we'll acknowledge those as they've been prepared. And we will go on to the bills. A copy of a warrant register with today's date on it. Questions, comments, concerns there?
It's a big one.
It's a big one. It's a big one. Most of that is, of course, the City View Drive project. That was a big project.
Those tennis courts turned out really nice.
And I've seen them used quite often. In fact, I drove by there today, and I assumed what they were doing was playing pickleball. It didn't look like tennis, so it must have been pickleball.
Tuesday, Thursday.
Ah, gotcha. So, I'll entertain a motion to approve the bills. Mr. Welling, Mr. Sellers seconding. Is there any discussion? There's no discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? We have a revenue and expenditure report for July. I guess I'm not finding that right now, but it was a separate email, wasn't it? Yeah. Any questions or concerns with that report?
It's nice that it's going up so much. I just wonder if it's actually total sales are going up, or if there's, I talked to Trudy about this, or if it's just that inflation has caused prices to go up so much that we're seeing more tax revenue.
It's a good question. Probably maybe a little bit of both. Is there a motion to approve that report?
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Welling.
I'll second.
Mr. Lynch seconding. Any discussion? There's no discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That's approved as well. Crime Stoppers drawing. Let's do that now, I guess.
Yes.
Looks like.
What it is this is how the Crime Stoppers organization raises money for funding rewards. And there was only 100 tickets sold. And first place is $500, second place is $500, so good odds.
So it's all a tie for first place then?
So we'll have the mayor draw one and the chief draw one, so there's no,
No improprieties?
oh,
Unless he puts-
Is that just one? Is that one?
That's one. Brandon Park. Mike's son.
Excellent.
Gracie Smith.
cool figure.
Everybody said he didn't want to come. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, excellent.
Thank you,
Thank
Lexi.
you, thank you for doing that.
Lexi's the chair of the Crime Stoppers Board of Directors and does a great job for us. And we thank you for your community service.
Yes. Okay, council comments. Mr. Lynch, what do you have for us tonight?
I want to thank Dean for helping out one of our local contractors who was in a twister last week because Bob was out of town and unable to inspect the home. Thank you for your quick thinking and getting the job taken care of.
Yeah, it was a bit of a fiasco, but I'm glad it worked out.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Some other questions that we could use.
Excellent. I'm assuming that's the one I got a phone call on too, as well, yeah. Mr. Perkins.
I have nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Welling.
Just thought Cowboy Days was a huge success. The crowd at the rodeos looked pretty big, and as well as I went to. And thank those volunteers that pulled that off. That brought a lot of people to town, I think, and with the rondos and everything. So kudos to them.
Excellent.
All I got.
Thank you, Mr. Yeah. Mr. Sellers.
Just to add to that, there was just all the activities were well attended. Rotary, which I'm a member of, we're almost back to pre-COVID numbers for the pancake. So we served almost 500 people. So, and the parade was really well attended. And with the parade, since I was representing the Suicide Task Force, I just want to remember and throw out the new suicide hotline number is 988. So if you think of 911 for the police, think 988 for mental health issues or depression, or if you know somebody that's in trouble.
Thank you. Mr. Welling.
Nothing different from what's already been said, just thank you to Cowboy Days and what they promised with it.
Excellent. I'll echo those as well, and maybe further just express some appreciation. I hope that everybody had a chance to check out the big United States flag that hung on the side of the Wells Fargo building. That was an impressive sight to watch that scale down that building. I know Mr. Bull was there that night. I know many others were, but that was an impressive sight to see that drop down that building. That was a cool thing to watch and be there for. That was a group up there from and I hope I get his name, I think it's Brent Taylor Memorial from North Ogden, military man who lost his life in Afghanistan a few years back, and it was a great honor to have them and that flag in town for a few days. So it's pretty cool too. We'll go on to our public hearings and special orders. We'll start there with a public hearing to consider some liquor licenses. Mr. Bowl, I suspect you'll be our hearing officer.
Your Honor, the purpose of this hearing is the annual renewal of our liquor licenses. The applications for all of the licenses have been reviewed by the staff of the Wyoming Liquor Commission and the city clerk's office and determined to be complete. Notice of the applications has been published in the newspaper of local circulation at least once a week for 2 consecutive weeks as required by the statutes. The issues in this hearing are set forth in section 4-9 of the city code, which the council has heard me recite numerous times, so I'm not going to recite it tonight. The business names of the licenses up for renewal are Kate's, Homestretch Bar, Don Pedro Quinn Family Mexican Restaurant, Discount Liquor, Miami Down, OTB, Yankees Bar, Smith's number 86, Shell Gas Station and Truck Stop, Painted Lady Saloon, FOE 2359, Legal Tender Lounge, Ichiban Japanese Steakhouse, PFW Post 4280, Fairway Restaurant and Bar, Porter's T&T Fireworks, Jalisco's Mexican Grill, the Lincoln Highway Tavern, the El Paso All-American and Mexican Restaurant, Trader Joe's, Fast Stop, Border Beverage, Maverick 162, Spirits of Red Mountain, Don Rico, Such Brothers Brewery, Knights Inn, Main Street Deli, and Paps. Anyone who wishes to address the council regarding these applications, please approach the podium now, state your name and your mailing address. Is there anyone that wishes to address the renewal of all these liquor licenses? Liquor licenses include both retail and restaurant licenses. Your Honor, the record should reflect that no one wishes to speak to you regarding the renewal of the liquor license. Does the council have questions for anyone regarding these license applications?
I don't. Do you? Any questions?
There being no questions, this hearing is closed.
Thank you, sir. Okay, now we need to consider a motion to approve the application. Mr. Lynch, motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Welling with a second. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That's approved. Now we'll go on to our public hearing concerning the school district property.
Yes, Your Honor, the purpose of this hearing is to receive public comment regarding the proposed trade of real property in school district number 1. The notice of this hearing has also been published in the newspaper as required by the statutes. At the hearing, we'll first receive testimony from the city engineer who will provide a good background for what is being proposed here, and then we'll hear from any members of the public that may be concerned. Mr. Parker, would you approach, please?
Hopefully this thing works. Preston?
You had us all set up for this wonderful...
So what do I need to do?
Mr. Bolt told us this wonderful presentation that he had all lined up. I was on the edge of my seat waiting for this opportunity.
That's not hard to do. Not working now. I didn't tell it to go to sleep.
It's still early in the day, too, isn't it?
Yeah. It's working. I'll give you a little history while that's going. If you remember, so this property behind where the youth club is now, or where the youth club was, I guess was swapped right before I got hired on with the school district for city-owned property near the practice field. Oh, there it is. So this property here, these were dedicated to the city and at the end of Twin Ridge, down near there, dedicated with subdivision dedication. And for the property, and this, where the school district owned this back, they own this triangle piece, and then this little piece right here. So the new property line, after that swap, came down here and they included this triangle piece. So this part was swapped with this to sit in the school district. The school district didn't realize that they had swapped, or according to them, they didn't swap that much. I mean, everything was pretty transparent. But, the youth club, I've been working closely with the youth club and the school district, so they're involved and couldn't be here tonight, but they both were in agreement of this, and so that's why they agreed to put up the fence there where there's a fence now between right down the new property line. And so that's where the new property line has been set to, as the fence line. So in doing that, I thought, we really need to secure an easement at the end of Twin Ridge that goes all the way up for future water and sewer connections to Burnt Hill and that whole area there. So the areas were about half an acre, both of them, so it kind of worked out. They give us that easement, and then we give them that little triangle piece, and I believe they're going to use that triangle piece in the back there for shot put and discus and track events. We do have a storm drain pipe where that little pink square is. A pipe discharges here that drains this entire parking lot, so we need to maintain a 20-foot easement there so that we can clean that pipe out if we ever had to. I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot of things, but that's kind of the basic.
The city is trading that triangle parcel for a water and sewer easement. Triangle parcel that the city, that the school district said they never intended to convey in return for the conveyance of a water and sewer easement. And they're both about equal in terms of acreage. And so, does our stormwater drain onto that property?
Yeah, it just stubs out and goes underground, just infiltrates there. It's never tied into any system. So.
I think the school district paid for that fence.
Yeah, they did, and so they had an agreement between the school district and the youth club to do the fence and leave a gate and allow the youth club to still go out and use the field when they needed to. So I haven't really seen that agreement, what they have, or if there's anything actually in writing, but they have an understanding of being good neighbors there with that property.
Sure. And we certainly have a greater interest in the easement up in the Twin Ridge area than we do, and the school district certainly has the ability to put this particular piece of property to best use than we do. So
yeah, right now it's currently being used to dump mattresses and boxes over the fence from the skate park into that field. And it's been kind of turned into a kind of a nuisance. So it's good to see. I think if the school district cleans it up and actually puts some track and field events there, I think it'll clean up some garbage. It seems like people have been dumping stuff over the fence there.
Really?
Which is always, I think they've been putting mattresses there, like when they do the skate parks, they don't hit the fence, and then the old mattresses end up just getting shoved over. So, but.
Okay.
Any questions for Mr. Barker?
I don't have any. Seems pretty straightforward.
Nope. Like I said, we've got an email back from the school district confirming that everything looked good. We gave them the legal descriptions, everything. So, trying to be very transparent, very clear on everything we're doing. So, and Holly's in the loop, and I think it's kind of a straightforward thing. It's kind of good for the community all around, I think.
No, this makes sense. It makes good sense.
Thanks, Dean.
Anyone present from the public that wishes to address the proposed transfer of real property? Does the council have questions for anyone regarding the proposed exchange?
I do not.
So in that case, this hearing is closed.
Excellent, thank you. We'll go on to our consent agenda. We've got a street closure requested by the St. Mary Magdalene Church for an event on October 2nd, and a request from the Evanston Liquor Dealers Association for extended hours October 29th and December 31st. Do you want to visit about those separately or together? If everybody's okay with together?
I don't mind them together. I just got a question. How come they're only asking for 2 long nights? Don't you guys allow 4?
Typically, we do request further nights, especially in the track season and things like St. Patrick's Day, but I kind of got on board a little late this year, and therefore I had to just move the days to the ones that I could actually represent.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions? Any other questions on our comments? Is there a motion to approve our consent agenda?
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Mr. Welling with a motion, Mr. Sellers seconding. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is there any opposed? That's approved. Thank you, guys. We have no unfinished business, and so we will go now to new business, and we will start there with Resolution 2263. Mr. Boyle, you read that title for us, please.
This resolution of the city authorizes the trade of real property through school district number 1 in Lake County, Wyoming, and the execution of deeds and necessary documents to complete the trade.
Thank you, sir. And this is what we just talked about just a few minutes ago. Is there any questions before we move on with this? Seems pretty straightforward still. Is there introduction on this resolution?
I'll introduce with the motion passed. Your Honor.
Mr. Willing. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Perks seconding. Any discussion? There's no discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That's approved. Resolution 2264. Mr. Bowl, please.
Your Honor, this resolution authorizes the execution of a joint funding agreement with the U.S. Geological Survey, United States Department of the Interior, for water resources investigations.
Thank you. Mr. Robinson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is just an annual funding agreement with the USGS to keep the gauge on the river over here by the recycle center going and funded and maintained and all of that. So just our agreement for the next year.
Any questions for Mr. Robinson before we move on with this one? Is there an introduction on this resolution? Mr. Sellers with a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Lynch seconding. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That's approved. Thank you, Mr. Robinson. Resolution 2265. Mr. Bowler, read that title for us, please.
This resolution of the city authorizes the execution of a contract for services with the Evanston Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you. Ms. Lim.
This is our annual contract with the Chamber where we provide them some funding. So it did not change from last year. It's the same amount. So we're just needing to renew that.
Looks pretty familiar. Any questions for Ms. Lim?
Just a comment. I think whoever, Tammy's doing a fantastic job over there, creating a lot of events. So.
Yeah, she seems to be.
Do we have an introduction? Mr. Willing with a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Lynch seconding. Discussion? There's no discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That's approved. Thank you. 2266. Mr. Bowl, please.
Now, this resolution of the city authorizes the execution of a contract for services with Cowboy Days Incorporated, a Wyoming nonprofit corporation.
Thank you. Ms. Lynn.
Well, we've already talked about Cowboy Days tonight, but this is the contract so we can give them the money that we budgeted for them. It's the same amount as last year. It's a little more than it has been in years past because they have been televising that. So,
Is this for this year's
yes, this is for this year.
2020?
Yes.
So now that it's happened, is that the wrong way of looking at it?
I'm sure they'll be wanting.
It's a good event. We want it to happen. We want it to happen, keep happening. What was it this year, 86?
87, I think.
87 years? Is that what it was this year?
Many years.
Yeah, yeah.
We sure got our name, the city name out there a lot by the now.
Yeah.
You still get financial reports afterwards?
Yes. Yes, they're very good about providing those.
Your introduction on this resolution. Mr. Sellers,
I'll second it. Your
Mr.
Honor.
Perks seconding. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That's approved as well. 2267, Mr. Buller, read that title for us, please.
This resolution of the city authorizes the execution of an agreement with the Uena County Human Service Board to provide human services for the citizens of Evanston.
Thank you.
And again, this is another annual contract that we do for the tripartite board. And the board, people come to the board to request money, and you guys usually see who those are when we do the budget every year. The amounts are the same as the year before. It provides funding for like ECDC, SAFE, YAHA, the disability group, people like that. I can't think of them all off the top of my head, but it's the same amount as last year, and the county also does contribute to that as well. So.
We know how much yet?
Yes, actually, the county's contribution is a little bit less than ours because they have taken over the emergency detention at High Country. Then they're paying that directly, and that used to be part of this. So I want to say their portion is like 96, but I could be wrong.
That'd be about the same as last year. Okay.
Yes, it is the same as last year.
Okay.
But I also think with their taking over the emergency detention, I think that we had the potential of expending a far greater amount. So I think ultimately we're probably saving a few funds for the city. I think. I don't know that the numbers are, but I want to say that it's
Depending on the year. You're
exactly. Well,
probably right.
yeah.
Right.
And these groups that we give the money to, the board gives the money to, they provide financials every quarter, and they are reviewed, and they usually come visit with the board once a year. So.
Excellent. Thank you. Was there an introduction on this resolution?
I'll introduce with a motion to pass.
Mr. Lynch for the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it, Your Honor.
Mr. Perks seconding. Is there any discussion?
If you ever need a volunteer for that board, don't ask. That's got to be one of the toughest boards there is, in my opinion.
I think you're probably right. Any more discussion? If there is none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Are there any opposed? That's approved. Thank you. Departments. Chief Ranish, you have anything for us tonight? Excellent. Thank you. Mr. Ehlers, do you have anything? Ms. Lim, anything more? Mr. Barker? Mr. Robinson? No, sir. Ms. Harris? No, Your Honor. Mr. Bowl?
Good morning, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Public participation. Is there anyone here from the public that would like to address the council for any reason? Now's your chance, guys. We don't want to. Okay. Well, if that's all we need to do, we'll adjourn. Thank you. Hey, Gordon, could you come here for a second?